Stroke is a focal neurological deficit, which is of no other origin but cardiovascular in origin.
Depression is the leading cause of disability. Depression on its own is a persistent feeling of sadness, persistent feeling of hopelessness.
Hello viewers, welcome to this week's episode on Health Watch on Advent Cable Network Nigeria. I am Angela Wenze. On this week's episode, we shall be discussing malaria. Yes, malaria. Malaria is one of the deadly ailments that has been so trivialized, especially by people in sub-Saharan Africa, who may not know that this region is home to 93% of malaria cases and 94% of malaria deaths. By this, I mean the rest of the world outside of Africa deals with only 7% of malaria burden. According to the World Malaria Report published in December 2019, in 2018, 6 countries in Africa accounted for more than 50% of malaria cases worldwide, of which Nigeria has 25% of the malaria burden. Nigeria suffers the world's greatest malaria burden with approximately 51 million cases and 207,000 deaths reported annually. While 97% of the total population, approximately 173 million, is at risk of infection. Now, the surprising thing about malaria is that most people in Africa believe they know so much about malaria, thereby attending to it with so much levity. This, I think, is responsible for more deaths than the malaria ailment itself. So we will take some time today to understand malaria and debunk some of the myths you may have thought is true. My guest today is Dr. Tony Momo. He's the Medical Superintendent, Primus International Super Specialty Hospital, Cairo, Abuja. You're welcome, Daddy.
Thank you.
You know I love to call you Daddy. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you
for
much.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So today we want to discuss malaria. Since my life, I've just been hearing malaria. When you hear malaria, everybody says, what's the need discussing malaria? But before I even talk about what malaria is, there's something from the statistics we've reeled out. Out of 50% of 6 countries, Nigeria alone has 25%. So we've taken half of the problem of malaria. Why is it so particular? Why is the problem so particular in Nigeria? What's going on? What are we doing?
Malaria burden in Nigeria is very high because of our attitude.
Wow.
Attitude in the sense of our environment, in the sense of assessing care, and the sense of taking medication right. Most of our environment are filthy, and malaria thrives so well in filthy environment. And that's why I discovered that malaria burden is very high in Nigeria, especially in the suburbs of the cities, and where you have the burden the greatest. So Nigeria's burden is high, and it will continue to be high until we change our attitude to our environment and live a clean and better environment.
So the burden actually is not, the government has a little part of it. Because
yes, individual have most of the blame.
Yes, individual have
most of the blame. Not just the government. Individual have most of the blame, because when you keep your environment very clean, there are no stagnant water, you use insecticide to tread net, and you clean your environment, the parasite will not have a place to stay. And as such, the enormity of the problem will be very, very minimal. Not that it will not be there, but the rate at which we are having it now and is causing a lot of problem for us will be highly reduced.
Okay, so if we can take care of our hygiene,
yes,
our environment, get rid of water.
Yes.
Because I don't think so many people know, because you see a lot of water. People
stagnant water all over the place. And that's where the mosquito breed.
And gutters that are not covered.
Gutters that are not covered, gutters that are not flowing, that are dirty. Go to people's houses. In front of the houses, there are stagnant gutters where mosquito breeds. And that is the problem we are having. Not I know the treatment is another aspect of it, but our lifestyle to our environment is a key problem in getting malaria sorted out.
So we're leading because we have bad
Yes.
environmental, we don't take care of our environment. Okay, let's talk about the malaria itself. Of course, we all know it's caused by Plasmodium.
Yes.
But I know that there are different
four
species
yes,
of the plasmodium. Can you just talk us through?
Malaria parasite, there are 4 species malaria vivax, malaria ovale, malaria, malaria falciparum. It's the falciparum that is most common around us here.
Okay.
Yes.
And that is our problem.
That's the greatest problem. That's the one that is causing problem for us. That's the burden.
Okay, so but the other ones, are they? Do we get them?
Yeah, we get them, but they are not as significant as the falciparum.
Falciparum. Wow. Okay. So now, between the time, because we know it's bite from mosquitoes, that mosquito bites that transmits the well, in this region, falciparum should be the problem. So between when you get the bite and when you become sick, how long does it take? Is it just when you get bitten by the malaria, then suddenly you become well?
The malaria parasite, when it's bitten, takes some changes, goes into the system, goes into the liver, converted into certain forms. It's when those forms are now released into the blood system that temperature will start having chills, about 3 weeks. But in somebody that is immunocompromised, it will be shorter. Immunocompromised means that your immunity is down. Those who have chronic diseases, those who have one problem or the other, those who have really burdened by stress. Stress is another cause of repeated when you have malaria. So people have malaria almost every month.
I was even going to come to that question. I was just thinking I want to build to that question, because I keep hearing this thing on stress-related malaria.
Yes.
So, okay, let's take with the one with immunity, because this immunity thing, even now we have ailments that is trending, and immunity seems to be the strong word. So, if you have low immunity, then it's easy for you to come down with, when you've been infected with the plasmodium, to come down with it.
Yes.
Okay.
If you have low immunity, you can come down with any disease.
Any disease.
Not just malaria.
Okay.
Because the ability to fight the infection, some people will not have malaria for 1-2 years.
Okay.
Because their immunity is very high, they eat right, they do exercise, and they do all sorts of things, and some of them sleep under insecticide-treated net. So you see that their immunity is good, they eat right, they do exercise, and they live in a good environment. So malaria will really not come.
Okay. So boost your immunity by eating right, exercising, clean your environment so that you don't breed the plasmodium. Okay, I want to understand the way this malaria thing works, the whole malaria ailment. So the parasite doesn't just exist on its own. We must be the one spreading it from one person to the other.
Yes.
So how does that work?
Well, you can get malaria parasite from an infected blood if you are transfused with blood that is infected with the parasite.
Okay.
You can get malaria parasite by a bite from the mosquito that has bitten an infected person.
Okay.
You can get malaria parasite if an organ that is infected with malaria parasite is transplanted in you.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So malaria parasite can come in different ways.
Okay. Now, you know what I'm thinking? I remember I wanted to donate blood when I was in the UK. I wanted to donate blood, and they've asked me, are you from a malaria-infested region?
Zone.
Of course, Nigeria is like 25% of the malaria burden in the world. And they told me they can't take my blood because it must
likely that after 2-3 weeks, the person might come down with malaria fever.
Oh, I see. So we are the ones transmitting the malaria.
Yes.
So the malaria, the mosquito bites somebody.
Yes,
picks it from the person, and then
goes back to inoculate another person. Yes.
So if
that person inoculated blood is taken and transfused to another person, then that person will get the malaria. If somebody who is highly infected with malaria parasite donates a kidney to another person, definitely that person will get the malaria. That's why if you see people who are transfused with 2-3 pints of blood, whether they have come down with malaria or not, we empirically treat them with malaria.
Okay.
So that they don't come down eventually with the fever.
Okay, now it's making a lot of sense why we are having this malaria burden here, because of course, people are picking from each other. So if we want to get rid of malaria, it means everybody should be fine.
Yes.
Then even if the mosquito bites everybody and bites another person, it's not moving.
Yeah.
All right. So that's okay. Now let's see the symptoms of malaria. It seems so common.
Very common, and
can be mimic. Okay.
Mimic any other illness.
Okay.
Yeah, like if you have chest infection, you have fever. In malaria, you have fever. You feel generally tired, weakness, body aches. fatigue, those are sweating. Those are the symptoms, classical symptoms of malaria. Some people develop chills depending on the dose of parasitemia. Parasites in the blood, that's what we call parasitemia.
Okay.
Will make some people to develop rigor.
Okay, so you're
yes,
shivering.
Yes,
shivering.
so when you shiver, it shows that the parasitemia is high, and as such, the person needs to be treated urgently before he starts vomiting, because in some people it can lead to vomiting and become very weak. And in children, you can start if a child has abdominal pain, the first thing you should be thinking is, might likely that malaria is on the way.
Okay.
Because children present with abdominal pain, they cannot eat, they become irritable, and all that. So when a child becomes irritable, is having abdominal complaint of abdominal pain, and before he starts having fever, you should start thinking of malaria.
Okay, now let's say I want to just paint a case scenario. A woman in the house in the night, it's like 2 a.m. in the morning, and your child develops the symptoms and maybe vomiting and irritable, just the symptoms. Of course, the person cannot go to the hospital. Well, if depending on how far you are, you can't go to the clinic that night. You have to wait in the morning. Is it advisable to then just get some anti-malaria and give the child, or what's the precautionary measure? What can the person do?
The first thing, if a child is running temperature in the night, which is most likely, that's what happens in the night, the first thing is to bring down that temperature. If you don't bring down that temperature, the next thing is that the child will convulse. And when the child convulses, brain damage. The more convulsion, the more the brain damage.
So malaria can be responsible for as much as brain damage?
Yes, there's what we call cerebral malaria. When the parasite is much in the system, they cross what we call the blood-brain barrier. They go into the brain, the child becomes unconscious, even an adult. Anybody coming from area that is not tropicalized, where malaria body is not there, and they get malaria, the number of doses of malaria parasite you will have, if you inoculate into those people, they develop cerebral malaria, because they cannot withstand it. Their immunity has not been developed against the parasite. So there is what we call cerebral malaria, which is deadly. In children, it's deadly. In adults, it's deadly. It's not something you should play with. And when it gets to that stage, it requires emergency treatment to get the person out of.
So it's possible that some people would have died of malaria and they don't know that.
Yeah, you don't expect in the rural area. They will tell you that it's witchcraft and all that. They develop malaria, they are not properly treated, they become unconscious, and from there they pass on.
So that's the misconception of,
yes,
what people don't realize, how, they trivialize malaria to think that it's just fever, but they can get really bad. Okay, so we're talking about the child, the temperature.
Yes, so if a child's temperature is, I try to bring down the temperature, get a warm, just a towel with water, ordinary water, and use it to tape a sponge to the child.
Okay.
Yeah, the temperature will come down. If you have paracetamol, you can give.
Okay, paracetamol.
Yes, you can give. But tape sponging and exposing the child.
Okay, not covering the child, because
will help the temperature. Though the child might be shivering, but if you tape sponge the child, temperature will come down. It will not convulse.
Okay.
Before you ask for help in the nearby clinic.
Okay, so the first, first aid.
Yes.
When you have that, temperature, try to
bring down the
temperature, which is very important.
Yes.
So you use a warm, wet cloth,
wet towel, preferably a towel that is thick. Soak it in water, and dampen the body. That's what we call tape sponging of the child.
Sorry, take it again.
Tape it,
sponging of the child, so that the temperature can
come down. When the temperature comes down, convulsion will not take place, because convulsion is the most deadly thing in a child.
Okay, there's always the temptation to want to cover the child.
No, that's
even when an adult is, for an adult, there's the temptation to cover your body.
Yes.
But the best thing to do
is to expose the child.
Okay.
An adult might not convulse. Okay. If an adult convulses, that tells you that he has cerebral malaria, or he has other things that is making him to convulse.
Okay.
Temperature per se, normally in an adult they shiver and they lose temperature. The temperature will come down when you shiver. When you are shivering. But in a child, they can't. So you need to bring down the temperature by sponging and exposing them. Even when they are shivering, just expose them. The temperature will come down and they will not convulse. All we are trying to do is to prevent convulsion.
Yep, to prevent convulsion, so that in the morning, just like the case scenario, you can take the child. Okay, when we come back from the break, we'll discuss we'll talk about treatment and the issue of resistance to anti-malaria. We'll be right back, viewers. Welcome back, viewers. Before we went on the break, we were discussing malaria, and my guest is still Dr. Tony Momo. Thank you very much, sir, for all the information you've been giving us. Okay, so we've talked about, what to do when there's an emergency. But before we talk about treatment, when kids are going to school, boarding schools, you see parents, will give them anti-malaria and say, okay, just in case they fall ill. I think it's kind of a prophylaxis, kind of trying to do a kind of so that they don't come down with it. Is that an advisable?
Well, it depends on which school or which environment the child is going to. If it's another endemic boarding house that you have grasses all over, it's not well kept, it's something that you can do just to delay onset of any attack of malaria while in school.
Okay.
But the important thing is that any child that is going to school should be properly informed on how to know when these symptoms are coming so that they can seek for help before it knocks them down completely.
So when you then find out that, you have this fever, you started noticing symptoms, because honestly, everybody just feels when they have fever, headache. In fact, some people tell you, I know it's malaria that is coming, is about to come, let me start treating it and all that. But I've been hearing that, or I've been reading that that's actually a big problem, self-diagnosing and treating yourself. What should a person do when you find out, knowing that you shouldn't self-diagnose and treat yourself, malaria?
Yeah, when you notice that you are not feeling too fine, you need to seek for help. Seek for help in the sense that you see a doctor so that you are properly counseled and maybe investigated before you are treated. But you discover that in this part of our own world, everybody runs to the chemist, give me anything, I have a headache, I have this, they will just swallow. And that's why the burden of malaria is on the increase, it's not subsiding, because we do self-medication, roadside medication, without doing proper medication. And that's the problem we are having, that everybody can treat malaria in Nigeria. And until we learn how to treat malaria properly and give it the attention it deserves, we'll be having resistant strain as we are having currently. In the old days, we used to use chloroquine. Were you in Nigeria then?
Yeah, I was. I was a bit grown up.
We used to use chloroquine, and by the time you take 2 tablets or 4 tablets of chloroquine as a start, the fever and the body ache disappear. But with time, over time, because people will take the 4 tablets, they will not continue. The parasite develop resistance. And the malaria falciparum became so resistant to malaria, to chloroquine, and that's why you now have the new regime of treatment of malaria. Even now, there is an abuse of those treatments, and because of that, people get malaria so often for reasons I've earlier said, wrong treatment, stress of this environment, and our environment we find ourselves, and it's all the pressures we're having. And that's why malaria is the current. Some people treat malaria every month.
Yeah, I was even going to, some people we treat this week, and all of them treating didn't go to the hospital. That's the reality. Most people treat, they just, they tell you I've treated malaria, it means I went to the pharmacy and picked up. But so what's the right way to go about treatment for malaria? Well, because we know that this wrong treatment of malaria has cost us more trouble, and if we continue that way, then we might have to start looking for another combination therapy.
Yes. The right way to treat malaria, as I said before, is to seek medical help. Not only seeking medical help, to make sure you get your drugs from the right place that are genuine. There are too many fake malaria drugs. And that's the problem we're having. Somebody will tell you he's taking these tablets and the fever is still persisting, the aches are still persisting, because too many of the fake drugs are in the market. Until we are able to see those fake drugs and avoid them as much as possible, by going to the right hospital, not mushroom hospitals, especially government hospitals that stock good quality malaria drugs, and some of the big private hospitals that stock good malaria drugs. Then you will be able to stop this malaria epidemic that is everybody is having malaria every week, every month, and every time.
There's the issue of dosage as well. People don't take.
Yeah, and another thing, if you are taking the right type of malaria treatment, by the time you take the first and second shot, third shot, you definitely will be better. And because it's 3 days, more people don't complete the treatment, and that is another issue. By the time you've taken the first dose, second dose, you'll be feeling better. Some people just manage to take the third dose and they will stop.
And don't complete
And
the
don't come
dosage.
back. And when you do that, you will drive the parasite into the liver. They will go and hide and wait for the dose in the blood system to circulate and clear and excreted. By the time the anti-malaria is gone, they come and show their face. They multiply in the liver and get released into the blood system. And that's why some people, after 2 weeks, they say, I'm having the fever again. It's either they didn't complete the dose or they didn't use the right treatment, or it was not malaria they were having before.
There's no malaria they were treating. And so maybe that's one of also the danger. For the one of it's not the malaria you're treating. So if you're just sticking in the anti-malaria just like that when it's not malaria, you're actually giving the plasmodium opportunity to hide or something. And then
If you have it, if you don't have it, the thing will be excreted from the body through the kidney, because the drugs are excreted. The ones that are useful will kill the parasite. The ones that are not useful or excess will be excreted out.
Okay.
And you'll be tasking the organs in the body to be excreting when they are not supposed to doing that.
Wow. So that's part of our problem. We do not take the right dosage.
Yes.
So what we're giving out now is when you take, number one, when you feel symptoms and you're not sure, go to the hospital and do a proper diagnosis. Then the doctor will prescribe the medication for you.
And make sure you get the medication at the right place too.
And go to the right place to...
Yes.
I know now, I think there's always this scratch. There's a,
yeah,
at
you
the
scratch,
back of the...
you can make a call to find out whether it is original or not,
Mm-hmm.
and you get an SMS to say that drug. But you know how people are too smart. They can always get the carton and put something else inside.
Uh-oh. So now, that's a dilemma. That's another dilemma we're in. So the best thing now is to go to the general hospital.
Yeah, go to the hospital, get treated, get your drugs from there, so that if it's not going, you can hold a place responsible for treating you and you are not getting better.
Not getting better.
And they cannot look somewhere to say, is it malaria? Is it something plus malaria that is happening that we have not been able to detect?
Okay, so get the right medication from the right place.
From the right place.
And then make sure and complete your dosage.
Yes.
Very important.
Yes, and live in an environment that is clean enough.
Okay.
And if you can sleep under insecticide-treated mosquito net.
How do we find that? You go to the market?
That's available all over the place.
Okay.
Insecticide-treated mosquito net.
Okay.
It's very cheap. I think it's less than 1,000 or thereabout.
Okay. Okay. So
for students going to school, it's advised you buy them insecticide-treated mosquito net. That will help them. You know, because most of those children in school, they don't take drugs. When you give them 6 tablets, they will take 1 and
leave the rest. So it's very important to complete your dosage, because if you do not complete your dosage, you might just be giving us another plasmodium that is resistant. And if the mosquito bites you and takes it, it might spread another new strain that will give us problem. Are there other things apart from, keeping the environment clean, taking your dosage, that we can use to prevent malaria, like the spraying of the...
As I said before, our attitude, especially at the older ages, we must live right, eat right, live right, and make sure you do the right thing, which is the environment. Live right, making sure you eat the right food. At ages of 50 years and we don't expect you to be eating like children of 18, 14, 16 years. Because you now eat food that will be beneficial to your system, that will improve your immunity at adulthood. If you don't eat food that will improve your immunity, you'll be falling sick, regularly. So you must eat right, you must exercise right, you must sleep right.
So these things can actually
These are the things that are causing stress. When you are stressed up, a little dose of malaria probably will knock you down. That the body will have been able to fight before. It's not every malaria, a mosquito that bites you, that you fall down, that you come down with malaria. But because of depending on your immunity yourself. If two of us, as we are sitting here now, mosquito will bite you and bite me, I might not come down with malaria because I'm doing the right thing. I do exercise, I eat right, I sleep right, I make sure where I stay, I make sure it's properly clean and ventilated, to avoid. But those who are not, who are in so many habits that, some habits that are going to reduce your immunity.
What
They
are the use
will
of
always come down with not just malaria, even ordinary cold, that people will be able, the body is able to resist.
Okay.
You come down with it when your immunity are low, when your immunity is very low.
Okay. Let me ask about insecticide, the ones you spray in the room.
Yes.
Some people have come up with issues with it, that it's...
Yeah, insecticide is, there are toxins too. They are made of chemicals that are equally dangerous to the body, to the system, to the cells in the body.
Okay.
As they kill the mosquito cells, they affect you too. That's why when you spray the mosquitoes, you must ensure that the thing has gone out before you come into sleep, because
whether it's odorless or
whether it is odorless or not, there is a chemical inherent in it that is going to affect the mosquito.
Okay.
That same chemical will even affect the human being more than the mosquito if you inhale it.
Okay.
So that's why when you apply insecticide into the room, you allow it to work, keep the room closed, then open up the windows, let the thing go out, and make sure virtually there is nothing smelling in the room as an insecticide before you come to sleep, because it has its own side effects.
Okay.
But by and large, it's better to keep the environment safe.
Keep the environment clean,
yes,
so that the mosquito does not breed in the environment.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll go on the concluding part of this program.
Thank you.
We'll be right back, viewers.
COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a new coronavirus introduced to humans for the first time. It is spread from person to person, mainly through the droplets produced when an infected person speaks, coughs, or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby. These droplets are too heavy to travel far in the air. They only travel approximately 1 meter and quickly settle on surfaces. This is the reason person-to-person spread is happening mainly between close contacts. The exact time that the virus can survive on surfaces is not yet known. So it is wise to clean surfaces regularly, particularly in the vicinity of people infected with COVID-19. Hands touch many surfaces, which can be contaminated with the virus. You should therefore avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth, since contaminated hands can transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth and nose with the bend of your elbow or use a disposable tissue. If a tissue is used, discard it immediately into a closed bin. The most effective way to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus is to clean your hands frequently with an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. This will eliminate the virus if it is on your hands. Stay healthy and prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Welcome back, viewers. Before we went on the break, we had been discussing malaria, and my guest is Dr. Tony Momo. But now we're going to shift a bit to discuss what has been trending for the past couple of months, and that is coronavirus, which is the COVID-19. So we're going to talk about that, understand what it is, and dispel some myths or some misinformation that's out there on this particular virus. So, sir, presently everywhere, and as of today, we understand that there are a few cases in Nigeria now of people who have come down with the corona virus, also known as COVID-19. Let's just have a brief summary. I want to believe everybody knows what it is, but without just, preempting that people know what COVID-19 is or coronavirus. What is this?
Well, corona is one of those viruses that causes most times what we call upper respiratory tract infection. Okay. Coming down with sneezing, cold, fever, and generally feeling unwell. And that is what is trending now, as you have said. But the good thing about it is that, one, it's not transmitted by droplet, as we are talking to me now.
Okay.
It's not transmitted by droplet infection.
Because of the distance between us?
Distance, it's not until it settles on a surface.
Okay.
That's why the need to wash your hands becomes very paramount, so that you don't touch surfaces that the thing has dropped in. So it's not, if it's transmitted by droplet infection, then it will have been very disastrous. And that's why any gathering that is at close contact to is not advisable.
Okay.
But it's picked up from surfaces where it drops, close contact, somebody sneezes, and all that, So it's preventable, and the simple way of preventing is to avoid touching men. M means mouth. Stop touching your mouth. E means your eyes. N means your nostrils. Stop picking your nostrils. Those are the areas where you can find this virus. So if you avoid touching all those areas and you wash your hand very regularly, at any given time you have touched something or you have touched a surface, you wash your hand with soap under running water, completely washed, thoroughly washing, not just 1 second. Yes, wash your hand for about 40-50 seconds. Thoroughly. There is a method of washing the hand. It's not just this one we do. You wash the hand with soap, scrub the palm, scrub the thumb both ways. Your hand going in between and under running water. Yes, when you've done
under running water, like you say, because some people have the bowl of water, they wash their hand and take it over again and over again.
That one is not acceptable. Then use alcohol-based sanitizer.
That just before you go ahead, I wanted to, because some people, you just see them, they say, instead of, there's water, but they wouldn't go wash their hand, they would rather use the hand sanitizer. Isn't the hand sanitizer an alternative just in case there's no water?
Yes.
Just in case there's no water.
You don't have water readily available. Use the hand sanitizer to stop the multiplication of the virus.
Okay. So washing of hands, appropriate washing of hands, and then not touching surfaces.
Don't touch surfaces. Avoid shaking of hands. There is a new COVID way of shaking of hands. You do this, So you avoid that, and you avoid hugging, all that, as much as possible, because, as I said, it's found on surfaces. So, and by and large, you discovered it. Some people have even said that because of our pigment, what we call the melanin we have in our skin as black people, it's another form of resistance it has convey on us. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Why is our skin black? There is what we call melanin in that skin. And people have incriminated that melanin to be another way of protecting the blacks. Against, even when you are exposed, your ability to fight
is
really higher than all these Caucasians and all the rest.
So, but we also know that the recovery rate has been
higher too.
Yes,
in our
commendable.
People here. Yes, highly commendable. When they come down, when you start treatment, because of our ability to fight infections.
That immunity as well.
Immunity, yes.
Eating well, just as you said.
Yes, and the older ages should be more wary because their own immunity is low and lower than the younger ones. So you should be more careful in the way you handle things because of their immunity. They are more susceptible to catching when there is when the environment is so is infected. Wherever you are touched. If you touch somewhere and I touch you, you are far younger than me.
Yes.
So I need to be more careful than the way you should have. But like everyone should take precautionary measures. Especially
now that we have it in the country.
And as I said, touch not your mouth, touch not your nostrils.
So remember, men, touch not your mouth,
touch not your eyes, touch not your nostrils.
Touch not your nose.
Yes.
Don't touch your mouth, M.
Yes.
I, and then your nose. Yes. Don't touch those areas.
So if you have that at the back of your mind, you will not be inoculating your hands with the virus. Because that is where you spread it.
So Daddy, let's dispel some myths that's been going out there. People have said if you drink a lot of water, hot water especially, and you have the virus, it will flush it down, and then the acid in your stomach will destroy it.
That is not known. The good thing about it, when you have what we call upper respiratory tract infection, common cold, if you use hot water to breathe and you drink ordinary water, you recover faster than somebody who is still drinking cold water. I'm sure you know that.
Yes, of course.
So, and the same thing. So these are a more respiratory tract infection virus.
Okay.
So if you take warm thing, you are warm yourself up. The tendency of pushing it out is there. That somebody is taking cold thing, you worsen the situation.
Okay,
so
which is generally with even common cold.
Yes, even with common cold.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So the other one is that the weather here is very hot, so the virus will not survive. And I'm wondering, Saudi Arabia, who had lots of cases,
yes.
is hotter than here.
Yes, that is not completely true because the weather too, well, is hot. There are some places hotter than this. As you say, Saudi Arabia. It doesn't mean that because the weather is hot, the bacteria, the virus cannot survive. It's just that we need to be more careful in the way we do things now, other than before. Some of our attitudes start leaving them. Our cultural attitude of shaking and hugging and all that, we should learn to do away with them for now, as long as this epidemic is on ground. And thank God for what the Church of Nigeria has done. The Premier has issued out a guideline of what we shall be doing, all the churches, to provide hand sanitizer before you enter. Our Holy Communion is now individualized. Yes. That will help again.
And during the peace,
yes, and during the peace, we just
you greet in a special way.
And that's all. And people are already imbibing that. Amen. And God be on our side. We are sure we will not get it here.
Amen. Amen. So the WHO, just to wrap up, so WHO said it's now a pandemic because we found a lot of it in the country. So should we be afraid?
We should not be afraid because God is on our side.
Okay. So there's no need to fear.
No, don't
God is
fear.
on our side. Maintain the hygiene.
Yeah, maintain the hygiene and keep yourself safe. Stop all the things we are asked not to do. As you said, don't do men.
Okay, don't do men.
Yes.
Don't touch your mouth. Don't touch your eye.
Don't
touch your nose.
Yes.
So don't do men. So that's it. I like the acronyms.
Yes.
The men acronyms. So don't do
with that, we are safe.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on the program. It's
so
good to have you there.
Thank you.
And I know you will come again.
I'll come again.
Again and again.
This is my station now.
Yes, of course. So it's good to have you, and thank you so much for the knowledge. Malaria, I've put you on 2 topics today, malaria and COVID-19. And we got a lot out of it. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So for the past couple of minutes, I've been speaking to Dr. Tony Momo. Dr. Tony Momo is the medical superintendent of the Primus International Super Specialty Hospital in Karin, Abuja. We've talked about malaria today. We have talked about COVID-19 or coronavirus that is trending. And I know we have learned a lot today. And I don't think we should be afraid of what is going on. God is on our side, and I'm sure we'll be very fine. But just remember to keep yourself safe and do the right thing so that you stay well. I am Angela Wenze. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.